Hello and thanks for joining me today. This is Danny and welcome back to the Deep Dark. I have finished my base, at least the outside of it. And you can kind of see it from a distance. And we're going to take a closer look at it in just a minute. What we're going to do is we're going to do kind of a time lapse of me building the tower, and I'll spend a little time kind of telling the story as we watch it, and then at the end we'll do a tour of the whole thing, of the whole completed project. So we've got some zombies coming. Look at that. Look at how far away they're coming from. That's crazy. They're like just heading right for me. Weird. I didn't know zombies were quite that smart. But anyway, so you saw me, I think it was two episodes now, you saw me build that big tower. It looked like something you'd see at Disney World or something. And I wasn't particularly happy with the tower, so one of the first things I did is I kind of rebuilt that tower. And then I rebuilt it again. And now I actually want to rebuild it again, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But that tower kind of served as the one of the main inspiration points for the rest of this build. And I also actually spent a lot of time just looking at different fortresses in the real world and seeing kind of how just some different styles of fortresses and kind of mixing together some different elements and other fun stuff. But I built and rebuilt this thing a few times. I came up with a few different designs and I didn't like how they turned out, and I tore them down, and then I built some other stuff next to them, and then I added some detail work, and finally came up with a design that I'm pretty happy with right now, I think. So here we go. Alright, let's take a tour. I'm actually back where I started, and this is my favorite way to approach this thing from the bottom. I really kind of designed it to look good from the bottom view. So this is our front entrance, which when I created this front entrance, this was kind of the turning point for me with this build, because I was really not liking anything. I wasn't liking anything I was building until I built this front entrance. And what's funny about it is that it's mostly vanilla blocks. We've got black stained clay, and then we've got the cobblestone walls, which I used as kind of a detail work, and then we have these posts, which are not vanilla. These are chiseled cobblestone, and then I'd used actually that same pattern for this walkway, which we're actually going to be changing in the future, because we're going to be creating a forest surrounding this area. So that I'm really looking forward to doing that. I think we're going to do that next time. Maybe there's some inside stuff we might do too. I'll have to think about that. But anyway, yeah. So when I created this front entrance, that's when I decided that this black stained clay was going to be the main base block for this whole build, because I had considered a few other options, like the I actually had just regular stone for a while, and that I don't know what I was thinking, but when I first saw it, I kind of liked it. And then but anyway, let's step inside. So this is the courtyard, and we're going to be adding some decorative stuff in here. I'm thinking maybe some kind of a water feature, some pathways, some gardens, and some doorways. I actually haven't done doorways yet. Doorways and windows I haven't done. Well, I mean, I've done some of the doorways, but and I haven't mentioned, if I haven't mentioned this already, I really have just done the exterior. I have not done the interior of the building yet. But I'll just we'll take a peek inside just so that you can see the size of the interior. This is actually going to be split into multiple rooms. I haven't fully decided yet how to split up the functions in this place, but I'm pretty sure that this bottom part is kind of going to be a village. I'm going to have separate buildings here, some kind of shop-like buildings. And I'll be using this for villager trading. I'm going to have a horse area down here, a horse stable, and that's about all I know so far. I'm going to have a horse stable, and I'm going to have some areas for villagers to exist. And yeah, and this front entrance, I'm thinking of actually, because I like the way it kind of looks open like that, I'm thinking of either using a drawbridge here, or RF Tools shield blocks, so that I can walk through it, but no other entities can, including the villagers. So the villagers will be stuck in here, because if they wander out there, they're liable to get killed by zombies. Now this tower, if you remember, this was the first thing that we built, and at first we had blue bricks there, and it just looked silly, and then I changed it to cyan, and then I changed it to black, and then I kind of liked it, but we had marble blocks here. Now I replaced these with these cobblestone, which I ended up using for my support pillars throughout the entire build, because I really like the way these look. It's chiseled cobblestone, and it's called cobblestone with panel or something like that. And then after I built the tower, or after I built the rest of the thing. I just didn't like the way this tower looked anymore. So it didn't fit in anymore, and I was actually thinking about tearing it down. And then I decided to put these black stained clay strips on them, and that kind of helped it blend in a little bit, but I still have mixed feelings about it. I'm actually considering moving it. Somehow it just seems like it's just kind of blocking the rest of the build, but I don't know, maybe that's okay now, because I had played around a lot with detail work, and I was using these cobblestone strips, and of course the cobblestone walls, but these cobblestone strips and posts, I was using those elsewhere in the build as kind of some detail work, and after a while I decided I didn't like it anymore. It almost looked too again cartoony. It had almost like a Willy Wonka. For some reason it reminded me of Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, maybe because this clay kind of looks like chocolate, but yeah, so I got rid of it, and I almost like it better without any detail work. And if you look in the real world at like real world fortresses, just do a Google image search for fortresses, most of them don't have any detail work at all. Most of them are very uniform color, because the idea is that they kind of blend in, and you don't want to be able to easily see where the doorways are. Yeah, so after I got rid of the detail work and I added the trim, all of a sudden the tower didn't look as bad anymore. But I'm definitely, like I said, I'm still not convinced that I like it. And I'm interested in your opinion. If you have any opinions about this tower, please let me know. Or maybe ideas on how I can make it blend in a little bit better. So here's our elevator, which we had in the beginning. And here's our first floor. So far I've got marble floors with large dent, chiseled marble. Oh, I'm missing some missing some stuff here. But I've got this stained glass as kind of a railing throughout, and I really like the way that looks here for some reason. It seems to fit pretty well. But this is the first main floor. Of course, we also have a floor down here, and a little kind of curvy stairs going down. And this, I'm actually going to have some flowers and possibly even a tree growing in some of these areas, some of these grassy areas. This is actually right up here. This is one of my favorite views of the whole place, because you can see the overall shape and all the little bridges, and you can also see down into the courtyard, which someday is going to look really cool, someday soon. And for the most part, the whole building is symmetrical. I know I had said that I might not do symmetry and that symmetry is overrated, but I decided to go with symmetry. I don't know, it's easier, really. And here's the interior of this floor. This is actually the largest floor, because as we go up, they get smaller. This again will be split up into separate rooms. I believe this is going to be primarily a spawning area. This is where I'm going to be doing my villager spawning and grinding. And but there's a lot of space here actually, so I'll probably be able to do some other things here too. And of course, this stuff will all be covered up once I decide on an interior wall. I'm going to be, of course, putting that here. We're going to have a new ceiling. We're going to have a ceiling here, and then also this ceiling is not going to be quite this high because we're going to have a maintenance area in between each floor. So there's going to be like probably maybe a 2-block tall maintenance area. So the ceiling is actually going to be right about here. And then up here we're going to have wiring, conduits, that sort of thing. So if you're coming from this direction, there's only 2 entrances into this place. I don't have any side entrances, and I may keep it that way, I might not. I haven't really developed this area very well because this is the back. But I have a kind of a similar detail design here as the front. Take the elevator to the next floor. Now up here we just have this room, which is smaller than the last floor. This might actually end up being my main room. I haven't decided yet. Like my main workshop area. It's definitely large enough for a lot of machines and storage, so that actually might work out as a pretty good machine room. But I'm actually thinking that I might, and one of the things I like about it too is that it has a good view of everything below, but I'm actually thinking possibly this one as well, because this one's even big enough. It's smaller, and then we've got some grassy areas out on the side here, which I might stick a tree, or probably this high up we won't have a tree. That might look a little too silly, but some kind of a garden or something, you know. And again, we'll have a roof that's at about this level, and we'll have wiring or whatever up there. Here's our back entry view, and we'll be able to look down on the dark forest below soon. And then finally, we have our top floor. Whoa! Of course, I could just fly up there, but I'm trying to use the mechanics of the build. And then this is the top floor. This is the smallest floor, but I kind of like this one because you've got views, and then of course you're right at the top, so you see all the little hanging stalactite, I can't remember which is which, but and then you've got the view way down there, and then you've got a slightly larger grassy area here, and more kind of lookout areas. And you can hear my machines upstairs. My current base is actually right up there. In fact, here's the balcony. So if we go in here, in our old base, here's our old base, remember? Actually, it's kind of still our base because we haven't moved anything yet. But now when you go out on this balcony, which used to look out over the deep dark, it just looks into my top room. So that'll change eventually, and I might have kind of a stairs going up into the old place. I don't know, we'll see. Or if we might just abandon it completely. But yeah, I really like this room, but I'm thinking that this might end up being my enchanting area. I think I might have my auto enchanters up here, my experience, anything having to do with XP and enchanting and that sort of thing. It's going to be up here. Yeah, I think that's what I'm thinking, but we'll see. And what I plan on doing is building the interior and the functionality of each room one at a time. So when we get to this room, we're going to build the interior walls, the ceiling or whatever, and then we're going to set up all the machines and do all that at one time in one room. So we're not going to do the interior of the whole place at once. We're just going to do it one room at a time as we do the functionality. But here's kind of the view of the whole thing. Now when you look at this from above, you see a lot of green because every floor has some green area exposed. In fact, if you look at this on the map, it looks all green from above. You can barely tell that it's a tower. Yeah, this is a pretty cool view from up here. I might think about making this my base up here, making this my main base area, because it actually is big enough. Because all I really need, I mean, the stuff that I interact with on a regular basis would be, you know, like my AE system, and then just a couple machines. I really just need. There's really only maybe 3 or 4 machines that I interact with on a regular basis, because everything else is auto-crafted. We're going to be doing Botania probably somewhere down there on one of the first floors. And one of the reasons I want it way down there is because all the noisy stuff is going to be down near the bottom. The noise that I don't want to listen to. That's why I'm going to have villagers on the bottom. I'm going to have zombie spawning probably down here. And then we'll have Botania down here too. And a lot of the Botania stuff is kind of noisy, so this will be a good place to have the Botania stuff. So that when I'm way up here in my layer, or whatever we want to call it, which might be this floor, or it might be the one above it, I haven't decided, I won't be able to hear all that noise down there. So So that is the whole build, and I'm actually thinking about getting rid of this tower. In fact, I started to kind of etch away at it a little here. I'm a little reluctant though, because we have so many memories here, but it's already kind of messed up. But our little ladder that we used to run from mobs, go up when we were running from mobs. Yeah, but I think we're gonna tear it down. If I ever want to see it again, I could just watch my old videos. But remember our first time going down here? I still remember when we built this thing, and I was a little nervous because it was the first time I had ever been in the deep dark without lots of cool resources and stuff, and So that is the build. That's the build so far. I'm still thinking about detail work, but I don't know. You know, I actually kind of like it just plain like this, because we've got these towers which add a certain amount of detail, and then we've got all this detail in the front and the back. You know, I've tried a few different detail ideas, and I just didn't like any of them, and it looks almost a little more dark and ominous this way without all the detail up there. You know, you look up and it's just like, ooh. Alright, that is the tour. So between now and the next episode, I'm going to make some decisions about what I want to put where. And our next episode, we're going to start moving stuff over. And kind of, I think probably the first thing I'm going to do is build our new base, because I'm kind of excited to move into this thing. So I'll figure out which floor we want to put our base in, and of course, if you have any suggestions, I'd be happy to hear them in the comments below. And we'll figure out which floor we're going to put our main workshop in, where we would be spending most of our time. And theoretically, really, that's almost not true, but because I spend so much time doing auto crafting and maintenance and all that sometimes I end up spending more time in the other rooms. But anyway, yeah, we'll figure out which floor we're going to put our main workshop, and we'll do that first, and we'll build up that room. We'll come up with some interior wall designs, and move all of our machines and set up our basic automation again. So I hope you join me for that. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.